So we have the Fed going into tomorrow. That's going to be enormous. Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. We got a ton to go over here, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, Chipotle had great earnings, and let's just take a look at this. So you're surging after hours. The biggest news that I can see that would really drive this is not the earnings miss, where you can see where the revenues miss. The beat's good because the beat shows that they're cutting costs, which is great, but they're raising comparative sales, which is really good. So mid to high single digits, but they're opening 235 to 250 stores. Now, when that came out, that news of the stores and the growth is exactly what people want to see. So based upon that, the stock's moving up very nicely. I'm going to give you some levels just to take a look at tomorrow. So first one that I would watch is that 417, 418 level. Now, I just want to watch this pre and post. You can see that that level's still there. So you're going to want to watch that. That would be the first real higher high. You could call this a higher high too by getting up over that and closing, but this would be highly impressive to get through that. That would be like 3-4 months essentially of just a base. Of something that's just been in a massive downtrend. So that's definitely something for us to watch and keep an eye on. Now, Google came out with earnings. Everything was pretty much in line. You did see some discrepancies, and I think that's because of what you're seeing with currency fluctuations with these global companies and the strong dollar. But we're not really seeing a whole heck of a lot after hours. You're kind of bouncing off this level and you're kind of bouncing around. So you can look at this tomorrow as to what to do. For me, the big thing would be is if we broke. So let me show you what I mean by break. So if you break that level tomorrow, let me just mark that off and get a line right there. There it is. And let's drop that down to right here. And let's just double check that line. Make sure I give you the right number. 102.21. So if you break that 102.21, you might really want to watch what's going on there, and you can kind of see where that would actually put you. That's not really what you'd want to break, right? That would be really bad if you're breaking a monthly long-legged doji. That would most likely mean that you have more pain involved, and that's not something you're going to want to be a party to. So I would let this shake out. I don't see any reason to get involved with this at all. If you come over and take a look at a couple key factors, such as the volume by price, this is pretty glaring from my perspective. You can't even get above your purple line, which is your point of control. Your RSI is rolling over. There's very little to get excited about here with Google. I know the split and quote, it's cheap. Long term, I think you're fine. The only person that's going to take Google out is Google over the long term. But right now you have to deal with the markets and what's going on there. And I think that's really important. Now, Microsoft, decent report, nothing out of whack. So just to point it out, you missed by 7 cents and sales were what they were. Now, it's possible that these sales numbers are wrong because you're converting back into US dollars. They're going to talk about that on the conference call. And if they confirm why they missed and why this revenue shortfall's there, you could actually see this go up after hours. You could see this reverse. So the one to me that has the most opportunity right now to actually reverse after hours, and you could see this happen, is Microsoft. It's done it 3 times. This would be the 3rd time. It's done it twice. They explain why they missed, and their CEO is really good at this. And then based upon that, we wind up going a little bit higher. So that's definitely something that is on my radar, and I am watching for sure. It very well could be the case here. So let's just keep an eye on that, and we'll see how it goes. But I think that it's very, very possible that we see something very similar to that. So you're going to have to watch. As I always tell people, you can wait for this 15 minutes and see if it clears that. For me, I think the fact that you're getting back to break even or a little bit over that before the conference call, I'm not the only one that can do the math and figure out the conversion rate on currencies and look at that, come up with an answer that this is probably why they missed, and that could lead to us possibly going higher. So just something to think about. But Texas Instruments beat on every single front. There's very little to say about it. The move is muted, and I think the move is muted because of where you are in the chart. But if you can hold on the daily, longer term, above this 50, that's going to be really very interesting to me. And that's definitely something that I'm going to continue to watch. I'm going to watch that level very closely. But their earnings were very good. So you can see right here, pretty clear, guides revenue above consensus. Look, 4.9 versus 5.3. They came in at 245 versus 212, 5.21 versus 4.6. Okay, they are, and the other thing about them too is they are a conglomerate. They are a global conglomerate. So the fact that they beat on the revenue side, even against a strong dollar, tells you a lot. Tells you a lot about that quarter. So I would watch this and I would see how this plays out. But overall, I'm very comfortable with that quarter, and it's definitely something I would focus on. ENPH crushed, and that's definitely going to just be something that's going to be, how can I express this? That you're going to see a lot of interest in that tomorrow. Let me leave it at that. So I personally am not chasing this after hours because of what it is. It's a very thin name. I don't like being trapped in thin names after hours. Microsoft, I don't mind playing after hours because there's tons of liquidity in that, and you'll actually see institutions position themselves after hours in Microsoft. NPH, not so much. I'd watch the 15, as we refer to it, the 15-minute opening range after pre and post market. There's a whole trading strategy behind this. I would watch this, and I would watch how this plays out. Usually after hours, you can make a little bit of money, but you just have to be very quick or cautious or doing it to position yourself for tomorrow. And that's really where we're at. And what I would focus on are these names that I've just gone over. And I'd go through and I'd mark off those key levels. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click all notifications, because what we go over here is extremely timely. But let's just talk about Tesla. So it was no big secret. We did a live show yesterday because of the Walmart news, but I was pretty clear that 793 it needed to hold. It didn't hold. I was pretty clear that I've been short this since the day before off this first rip down. This does not mean the move's over. It could very well go 1, 2, 3, and then we could reverse up tomorrow. But this is what I'm dealing with right now. So I can only play with the hand that I'm dealt, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Therefore, I would say that let this shake out if you're thinking about playing it. I wouldn't be jumping into it right now. What really looks good to me and what acted great today was this LABU. The fact that we made a higher high in this market, even though we have a doji, that's fine. It's a very easy stop for LABU. And you saw some movement in some of these names like SGEN. You saw them kind of pop out a little bit. The ones that I'm really focused on are CRISPR. So if you take a look at that, yes, it's a doji, but you still made the higher high and you still cleared that line. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for when they pull back and they look like they're supposed to go down. What do? They curl and go higher. It's exactly what this is doing. It's very hard to look at this and not get a little excited about that move higher. Now, this was one we've been playing in for a while, but really haven't made anything on it, and we're back above that 21-day. And this space is interesting to me because there's not a lot of inflation issues that we have to deal with on that space, right? So this space makes a lot of sense for those reasons, but you kind of have to take a look at what's going on out there. The 20-year got right up to that 120 level we've been talking about, and now we're selling back down, but we're still above the 50. So they are selling bonds, and it's very confusing because tomorrow obviously is a huge day with the Fed meeting, right? So we have the Fed going into tomorrow. That's going to be enormous. We're going to have to figure out what we're doing there and how we're going to handle that. And then, because it's going to be 75 basis points, anything greater, we're going to sell off. Watch the 2 o'clock level, and then after watching the 2 o'clock level, you're going to want to watch 2:30 when Powell speaks and see if he can pull it off. He's pulled it off once before, and he did a great job with it. Please comment on these videos. I answer everybody. It just takes me a little bit of time to get there sometimes since it's a one-man shop. But you see that level right here? You're holding on the cues. You didn't break. You got right to it, and you did not break. So there's very little to say about that, right? You're right there. Doesn't mean you can't break tomorrow, but it means for tonight, you did not break going into tomorrow. And you could always reverse, but between Google, Microsoft, Texas Instruments, ENPH, I don't see the bad quarter that's going to really take us down. Now, you could always sell off. Someone else tomorrow morning could come out with earnings. You could be jumpy because of what's going on out there. That's definitely the case. You can see that. But the SPY just didn't hold in there as well, and you closed below the 50 for the first time in 5 days, and that's not great. So, you can see day one, and this is the first day you've actually made a lower low. So usually that means we're going lower. We just kind of have to see how this plays out. It's very possible that this does stay up because Microsoft is a very large portion of the SPY, but just kind of keep that in mind and watch that. But overall, I would focus on those names, particularly where I'm going with this. If you're listening to this tonight, I would watch how Microsoft acts on that conference call. That's all I have, everyone. Have a great evening. I wanted to be more specific about what happened today and then what we can do about it tomorrow. We will do a live stream. There is a link to join the trading room if you're interested. We will only be open in the trading room for another 4 days. Then I close enrollment for a period of time. And you can click the link in the top right to get an understanding of what the room is like. That's it, everyone. Trade to win.